the kind of team that nobody wants to play. And that means that we have to impose our will. You got to be tougher than everybody that we play.
Sometimes the only way to develop, the kind of mental toughness and discipline is you have to be able to overcome hard.
But you got to push yourself, man. You can't give in to it. You got to keep pushing yourself even when you get tired, even when you feel like you can't go. All right, that's when you take the next.
What's going on? Coming at y'all guys, with a video for the day, just want to, talk a little football, a little sports, and talk about, some important topics that going on in the sports world right now. And just give my opinion, on, the whole situation. So, for this video, I want to talk about, Nick Saban, and what Nick Saban had to say about, just, what's going on with college football, with the NIL, and all the new things, that's been added to, college football right now. So, for those of y'all who don't know, Nick Saban, he did, he spoke at a important, meeting for college football, and he had a whole lot to say about, the NIL, you know what I'm saying? And I think one thing that he said that, caught a whole lot of people's attention was, he said, the NIL, it stands against, everything that he stood for the last 50 years of his coaching career, and if I'm off a little bit, it was something similar to that. It might not be everything he said, but it was something similar to that, and I just want to give my opinion just on, that statement that Nick Saban made, because, it seemed like, that statement, rubbed a whole lot of people the wrong way. A whole lot of people, just had, something to say about, Nick Saban in a negative way, and I'm gonna just give my opinion, and break down what I think, Nick Saban is saying. And I want to talk about just the NIL, and, just what I think about it, being, a ex-athlete, ex-college athlete, But first of all, I want to say this about Nick Saban, like, Nick Saban, I respect Nick Saban as a coach, and I not only respect Nick Saban as a coach, but I respect Nick Saban as a man. If you really like, analyze Nick Saban college coaching career, how can you go against anything that he say? Like, Nick Saban, has been a man that stood on his word. And when you just analyze the players that play for Nick Saban, like, these guys come out of Nick Saban, locker room, how, you would want an athlete, and not only an athlete, but a young man to come out of, a program after 4 years. Like Nick Saban, his players be a whole lot different from other, university players. Like Nick Saban guys, they do right, guys. They work hard. They produce. You never hear about them, causing any trouble. And that just, just that right there should give you an outlook on, who Nick Saban is and what type of guy he is. So, I understand what he's saying when he say, everything college football is doing now go against, what he's been preaching for 50 years. I get it. Plus, Nick Saban, old school, Nick Saban cut from the old cloth. You know, he feel the same way, you know, athletes who like guys that played college football in the past, they probably feel the same way about, you know, college athletes getting paid now. You know, the same way Nick Saban feel about, you know, the NIL, you know, they probably feel some type of way about, you know, college players even getting paid now with them going through the process and not getting paid. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, it's always gonna be, you know what I'm saying? It's always gonna be positives and negatives in every situation. You see what I'm saying? Like, people who have to go through something to get somewhere, they probably gonna want you to go through the same thing to get where they at. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, you got all these athletes that played college that didn't get, you know, money to play. You know what I'm saying? They had to wait till they get to the NFL to even get money. Now you got these guys, you know, who are getting getting paid to play. You know, it's gonna cause ripple effects everywhere. But it's pros and cons to every situation. Like, you know, it's a whole lot of good with the NIL, and there's a whole lot of bad with the NIL. You know, a good thing about the NIL, something I think that's a good thing about the NIL is, you know, like some athletes actually getting paid for being great college players. Like, you know, it's some athletes, they're gonna be great college players and that's all they're gonna be. You know, like, it's some guys that's great in college that they go to the NFL and they don't pan out. So with them getting paid, being great in college, I think it's a good thing when you look at all the great players that, you know what I'm saying, didn't get the opportunity to even play in the NFL because of injury. You know, and those guys that make it to the NFL but don't pan out when they was great college athlete. Like, I think NIL is good for them. They getting paid to be great in college. You know what I'm saying? That's the good thing about the NIL. You know, and some guys, you know, they are not great college athletes, but they go on to NFL. They go on to the NFL, and you know what I'm saying, they become great pros. You know, Antonio Brown came from Central Michigan. Nobody knew who he was. Drove to the Steelers, you know, and, you know, made a name for himself at the Steelers. You know, the NFL is good for those guys. Like, everybody is not going to be a great pro. Everybody is not going to be, you know what I'm saying, a great college player. So I think, you know, guys need to get paid for, you know, wherever they great at. And I think that's why the NIL is a good thing, you know. But I think the bad side of the NIL would be, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, kids running around with millions of dollars, you know, like 18, 19, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds running around with millions of dollars. I think that probably gonna be the bad part of the NIL. Because, you know, as I can look back, when I was a, you know, student athlete in college, like, you know, the stuff that we did just with the Pell Grant, you know, I can just imagine, you know, having millions of dollars, you know, in college. You know, all this stuff that, you know, these kids can get into with all that money. You know, I think that right there would be the bad part of the NIL, because I think, like, if kids start getting paid early, you know what I'm saying, a whole lot of them might not even make it to become a pro, because it's gonna be so much stuff they're gonna be getting into. You know, some of these kids probably don't even finish school because you know they getting $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, each his own. You know, some of them probably don't want to go to the NFL after making that money. You know, so the biggest thing I think, the biggest negative I think will be with NIL is, you know, these young kids having so much money, you know, without actually being, you know, developed adults. And I think that's what, you know, Nick Saban was trying to say, like, he into developing, you know, his players into adults so they can get to a point where once they get all that money, they can handle that money, they know what to do with it. And they know what to do with other than, you know, these undeveloped, you know, young adults run around with, you know, more money than their coaches. I think that's what he was trying to say. But you know, if you ask me, you know, the NIL, you know, it got their pros and their cons, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, I would like to see these players get paid, you know, but I think it's you know what I'm saying, like, I think 1 million players getting paid more than their coaches, college players getting paid more than their coaches, I think that's a little bit too much. So I think they need to fix that, you know, put these players on salary, you know, and I think everything will be a whole lot better. But yeah, man, that's all I got for this video on that topic. Y'all tap in, y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, share, subscribe, leave your comment. I see y'all guys in that video. Yo.